So hello and welcome to an episode of Scenes for Wheels. As you can see, I'm out and about tonight with the SL. I've just come back from Chelsea Walsh in it for like their cars and the valley, which is a little evening meet they do on a Thursday night. Very nice meet, always full of different cars, good variety of cars, and the SL really fitted in tonight. It was quite interesting walking around, having to pass by the car clubs on this to people's comments. One person was on about couldn't remember the name of the colour of this car. I would have told him, not corrected him, but I would have told him, so I couldn't remember what the name of this colour was, so I wouldn't have been able to have much of the conversation on that one. As you know from my last video, I did a very quick little sort of tour of the car, and tonight I thought it'd be great to actually do a bit more of an in-depth look around the car, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the car and sort of the history of the car as well, for the history I know about the car anyway. I've also got a little dog down there. He's trying to lick my knees at the moment. He's just gone up over there. It's very distracting when he does that as well. So we'll go and have a little walk around the car and just do a little bit of a tour really, and I'll tell you a bit more about it. So I just wanted to say a great big thank you to everyone who liked my last video and watched my last video and commented on it as well. I've had so many compliments about this car, more than I've had in any other car. And I think when you always buy a car, you think, oh, people are going to like it, are people going to understand why I bought it, and everyone's just got it. And so many people want to come and see the car. I've been telling my work colleagues about it, for example, and they can't wait for me to bring it in. And ever since then, I haven't had a chance to take it in, to be honest. So that'll be one day it'll go in. I know there's been a little bit of community on here, and I know people often comment and like the videos, and I see the same names and same usernames cropping up, and I'm really glad those people constantly like the videos and constantly comment on the videos as well and subscribe. I'm very thankful for that. But this was probably the first video where I think actually there is a proper little community here. You know, it's not just the odd few people. There's actually quite a lot of people liking this, and quite a, I don't know, and that's something I'm really pleased of. I think one of the things that I've set this channel up to talk about cars, and I have to admit, there's cars sort of come secondary to my channel. The first thing that I always wanted to show was my passion for cars, and I like to think that actually you guys have seen that and you guys responded to that, and hopefully you guys are enjoying that, which is why so many of you commented on the video last time and seemed to show so much love for this little car. So again, just a really big thank you. It really did mean a lot to me. So here it is, my 1985 R107 380 SL. Now, I can't remember what the name of the colour is, however, it is a lovely sort of dark shade of red. It's officially a red car, sort of a maroon burgundy colour. You can move around to the front, as you can see, quite a nice grille. I think the right-hand headlight has been changed at some point. A left-hand one does have a little bit of a crack in lens, but nothing too major. It doesn't affect the operation of the headlight, but it just makes it look a little bit odd. Moving a little bit closer, you've got two low fog lights, no headlight wipers on this particular model. That's okay, I'm not too bothered about that. And actually, overall, all the chrome, now I'll be honest, I've given it a little bit of a clean. There's a few little signs of scratches and marks and stuff all around the car, but I've given it a little bit of a polish. It's actually cut really well. It was a little bit more cloudy before, so it's definitely worth doing for a sort of simple, I would say 5-minute job, but there's quite a bit of chrome on this car when you start getting around there. So onto the side of the car, really nice side profile. Obviously this one's got the hardtop fitted at the moment, so I'm going to go and take that off very soon. The only thing with the hardtop is that you do have to have a sort of special tool to take that off, and it's sort of bent and angled a particular way. Currently I don't have that tool, so actually taking the tops off and fitting them, I have an Allen key for that, which isn't really up to the job. We'll have a look at the alloys. It's absolutely one of my favourite design alloys that Mercedes have ever done. So these are the Sombrero or the Mexican hat alloys, and I absolutely love them. They're in really good condition, and yeah, I'm probably going to leave them alone really and just enjoy them. So we'll move around to the side of the car and we'll go and have a look inside. So inside, excuse my ticket for social rules I've left on there. As you can see, you've got this lovely cream leather interior. Got the wood trim on there as well. And overall, it's a really nice place to be. I have to admit, out of all the cars, these are the most comfortable seats that I have. A lot more comfortable than some of my other ones, and they are properly, I think they might even be sprung. Just the way you sort of bounce around on the road. This isn't all a sports car, it's a very, very good cruiser. Now, overall the interior I would say is in quite good condition. There's a few little bits and pieces that are a few little issues, such as, we'll go and have a look at that, which is the little bit of wood trim. Doesn't really bother me at the moment. The rest of the wood trim actually looks alright, no real cracks. A couple of little cracks in the dash up there, again doesn't really bother me. Overall this interior is just a little bit grubby. If I sort of show you here, nothing that won't clean up. Now there are little bits where I think someone tried to do this repair previously. It's almost like it's been, I don't know, it's been stitched in a little bit. You can probably see a little bit of white stitch. I don't know if that's the original, so someone tried to glue it back in, but I'm not too sure on that one. A little tear over on the passenger seat as well. We'll have a look at the back seats. There we go. And that one end is quite difficult. Yeah, very nice place if you're, well, if you're a child, I presume, or if you're a little budgie here. You're going to go out in this car one day, aren't you? But you're dreading it. And anyway, it's a nice place to put them, and that's one of the reasons I like this car with the optional back seats, because they sort of can go in there basically and go out and just take one car away from taking both SLKs out, which is interesting. I don't mind doing it, but it is quite expensive. Yeah, buddies, oh, you're investigating it, aren't you? No bush. Maybe you want to go out in a chauffeur-driven Mercedes soon. But yeah, overall, the interior is in a good condition, but really just needs a bit of a clean. So I think I'm probably going to make a video out of that. I'm sort of itching to get I want to look at the seats like that. I'm sort of itching to get there, and I think this is probably where people are touching the seats to push it back, and it's just picked up by. Not all quite that as bad as that. I'll show you sort of seat base, that looks all right. So what are the issues that I'm into? Just a little bit of the trim. So another issue I'll just quickly mention is the odometer. Now it currently sits at 91,583. And bear in mind, I've done a couple of little drives in this car, and since I've picked it up, it's always sat at 91,583 and clocked up absolutely no miles at all, apparently. Rest of the dials seem to work okay. So I'm probably going to get this car booked in to have a few checks over. But overall, yeah, that's one little issue. So moving around to the back of the car, as you can see, the bright work again is generally alright. A little bit of pitting on it, but everything else, paintwork was good. There's a few little bits of bubbling rust, which really isn't that bad. If I try and show you, probably just see a little bit there. Just at a few different points around the car. It's certainly not something that I want to go into respraying this car, but it's something just to keep an eye on. I'm hoping maybe sort of 4 or 5 years down the line, I'm sort of looking at maybe respraying this car, but certainly not anytime soon. So here is the boot of the 380. As you can see, it's quite a deep boot, I would say. Certainly enough to get in sort of a few, couple of medium-sized suitcases for a weekend away. And I'll come on to more what I'm going to use the car for a little bit. Again, just needs a little bit of a tidy in here. I think we can get underneath. As you can see, I think there's a spare wheel under there, which I'm not going to pull out now because I mean, doing this all one-handed is always difficult, filming and trying to do stuff. So yeah, that's the sort of boot area really. So we're going to have a look over at the interior on the passenger side, and as you can see, quite a nice place to be. The main reason I come in here, not really to show the interior again, because you've already seen that once. It's just actually just to pop the bonnet open so I can show you underneath there. Alright, so let's get the bonnet open. And as you can see, there's quite a very chunky looking engine underneath there. It's very different to modern cars. Modern cars all have this plastic cover that I'm sort of more used to seeing, with the exception of the slightly older SLK. But everything looks to be in good order under here. I'm no mechanic, but I did have a quick look around. I couldn't see anything that was wrong. I had looked for things like sort of if rats have been living in here, if mice have been in here. None of the wires look like they've been tampered with or anything. In fact, quite a few of the wires, particularly the dizzy cap here, actually look quite new, to be fair. Now this car, when I bought it, had only been on the road for a few months. A gentleman bought it, from what I can see, in 2015, ran it for a few years, and then he unfortunately got ill, and this car ended up being sold earlier this year. Now I unfortunately don't know the condition of the gentleman, whether he just knew he couldn't get the car going or whether he sadly passed away. But a gentleman, somebody else did buy it, and obviously got the car going. They managed to get the MOT going, click for an MOT, and then for whatever reason they decided to move the car on, whether they'd sort of just done their bit to this car and decided that it's time to move it on, I'm not too sure. But there's a little bit of history. I'm going to try and find a little bit more for the paperwork about where this car's been. I know it spent a bit of time sort of down in the southeast. Then the owner that owned it was down Bristol, Somerset way, and then the last owner, I believe, was sort of over the border in Wales. Now, of course, this bonnet isn't complete without the grille going up, which I think they don't do anymore, because there's many a mechanic, an amateur mechanic, that have whacked the head, come up from the engine, whacked the head, which apparently comes quite sharp if you're not really used to it. So as you can see, I've put the bonnet back down, and that brings us round to the end of our really quick tour. I'm going to do obviously a bit more of an in-depth tour at some point. You're obviously doing some work on this car, which I'm going to be showing to you guys. I'm also going to be doing a drive of this car and take you guys along for the ride. That one is probably going to be a different video, just because I want to actually do that as a separate video, really, just to give it the time and the attention that it needs, and to go fully into what this car's like to drive. So that is it for a bit of a whistle-stop tour. There's so much I could talk to you about this car, and so much I could go into. We probably could be here for a couple of hours, really, if I went into every little nut and bolt and detail. So really, I'm just going to take a little bit of time just to say what are my plans with this car. I've had it now for just over a week. I've been out for a couple of drives in it when it's been nice. And yeah, what are my plans for this car? Well, I've got it booked in at, and you might know I work at Mercedes, they're going to have a look at this car. I've mentioned a few issues that I know of already, like the odometer. There's also a very annoying buzzing noise when you're driving down the road. It only turns off even when you turn the engine off, or when you put the indicators on, which is it's more just annoying rather than anything else. To be fair, the sort of sounds of the V8 drowns it out fairly easily, to be honest. One advantage of a V8. Yes, that's one fault. There's a couple little bits and pieces I'm going to look at as well, and just generally give the car a bit of a check over as well while it's in there. Last service on this car was sort of 2016, which is just before obviously got parked up for a few years, so I'm going to also get it serviced while it's there as well. So once this car gets checked over and it gets a little bit of money spent on it, I'm just going to use it, basically enjoy it. We're already in sort of middle of August, so I haven't got much longer now before autumn comes, and obviously winter will soon be following that as well. So I'm going to try and use it as much as I can, and then get it for the winter, and then we'll be into next year, and we won't think that far ahead yet because there's still a long way to go. So I'm really looking forward to using it. I've driven it and it's such a lovely car to drive. I'll give you sort of very brief sort of driving impressions. It's not a sports car. It's very different to my sort of modern SLK. It also drives very different to my daily driver B-Class as well. It's a car that's a very good cruiser. This is the most powerful car I have, yet it actually feels like the slowest car I have. It sort of gets along its own sort of pace. It's not in a hurry at all. And I quite like that. I don't worry about when I'm going to get to places anyway. When I drive this car on the SLKs, I'm going to get there and get them driving for the enjoyment of it. But yeah, it's just interesting that this takes that to the next level, and it literally meanders down the road at its own little pace. It feels like you're more on a boat, really. While we talk about boats, that's sort of handling wise, it doesn't really like to be thrown around corners always. It's very much floaty, it does pitch and roll, but I do quite like it. It does it in such a way that there's quite a bit of a charm to it. And actually, in terms of comfort, this is probably, as I said in my last video, the most comfortable car I own. It just feels like I don't know, I just felt like I could drive all the way to the factory this car was bought, for example, and it would just feel like I'm popping down the road to the local shop. You know, I think that's the impression that I get. No journey ever feels too long or too strenuous, and you get, when you finish your very long journey, if you're driving to Germany or something, yeah, you just feel like you've just driven down the road. Really interesting car to drive, but that's all I'm going to say for now. So the difference is with this car compared to my other cars is that this is more of an investment. This is the whole reason I actually bought this car. I haven't bought it to use as a daily driver. So I've got the big gas for. I haven't really bought it to take it to shows or to take for the odd cruise. It really is an investment. Prices of these are really going up at the moment, and I will tell you what I've paid for this car. I paid £12,702, including all the auction fees and everything, which I like to think is quite a good buy for one of these. I was trying to look around for an equivalent car and I couldn't find anything less than 15,000. So I like to think that if I were to decide no, I don't want to keep this car anymore, I could at least get your money back and maybe even make a couple of grand on it. But that's not really the whole idea of this car. I'm going to use it, I'm going to enjoy it, but it's nice to know that as well it's an investment and actually is going to go up in value. I haven't spent too much on it. Tax, I spent, I think just over £300 tax for a year. Now this car, I believe under current regulations in the UK, when it becomes 40 it becomes tax exempt. So I've only got to pay like another 2 years tax. It's September 1985 this car's registered, so as soon as it comes September 2025 it becomes tax exempt. It'll also become MOT exempt, but I'm still probably like to get it MOT'd. I know this is quite a contentious issue among classic car owners, but I'll probably go and get this done anyway, just as my own peace of mind. I'm not a mechanic, I'm not professionally trained anyway to do mechanics, so I really just wanted to go and get the car looked at. So I'll still do that for the £50-odd a year that it costs to get it done. So as ever, if you like the video, if you want to see more of this SL, probably next video I'm going to try and do is either driving impressions or clean up that interior. I'll let you know how the sort of workshop goes with this car and if there's any other issues they find. Hopefully not, but you never know. It's an older car we own, so we'll see what happens anyway. So if you like this, make sure you pop a like on the video. So make sure you want to see more of this SL. You might not want to see more of me, but definitely see more of this SL. If you have any comments or questions about this SL, please make sure you put them in the comments. I'll try and do my very best to answer them. And as ever, if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and you will see more of this SL and also my other two SLKs.